Hey, this is Daniel Waters, the screenwriter of Batman Returns, and you're listening to Superhero Stuff You Should Know. Max Shreck was never Harvey Dent. Stop reading the internet and watch these guys only.
Welcome to another special interview episode of Superhero Stuff You Should Know. This is once again Ben, and with me is my co-host,
Andrew, everybody. Guess who's here?
Yes, it is the 30th anniversary of Batman Returns. We have a very special guest who introduced himself at the top of the episode. Screenwriter responsible for giving us the versions of Penguin and Catwoman that so many of us in our audience actually adore, contrary to what the response you got probably in 1992.
And hate.
Yes, and giving us such fantastic lines like mistletoe can be deadly when you eat it. Daniel Waters, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Took me 30 years to come out of hiding because the movie's finally getting the respect it deserved. It took 12 Batman movies to kind of for people to understand that every Batman movie doesn't have to be the same. But when there were only two or only three, it got people angry.
Yeah. Well, I think a big part of that is the fact that we're now a lot of us are now the generation where that formed our perception of the characters. It wasn't just like, oh, this interferes with what I think of Penguin and Catwoman, when that's like your first Penguin and Catwoman.
I'm glad. I mean, my first Penguin was very funny because, the first Penguin that Tim and I experienced was Burgess Meredith.
Of course.
And we could never figure him out. And so people think we got it wrong, that this crazy gangster, this ornery aristocratic gangster, but we actually thought he was mutated. We thought there was something wrong with him. So I think we didn't think we were changing it that much. But of course we were.
Yes. Well, I mean, we'll get into this a little bit later, but I would argue that like it was getting away from like the superficial aspects of how he talked and getting more to the core of the character, in a sense that there is still a history of Penguin as an outcast. There is a history of him being ostracized for how he looked, and so that carried through into that spirit, I felt. So
cool.
We'll yes, we'll dive in further, but we're diving into the secrets of the Batman Returns scripts.
Oh, Jesus.
Giving us all the dirt. Yes.
Oh yeah, you guys like these big headlines. Yeah, all right.
Yes, we do. Yeah. So, of course, you and I met at the wonderful 30th anniversary event there, and I was fortunate to get your autograph on my Oswald Cobblepot for Mayor banner on that. I know that you said that was the best audience you've seen that movie with. I hope you were. I hope that's true.
It's absolutely true. I think. I mean, we've had some. I've seen it with good. The premiere audience was good, but everybody was more in awe of the movie. They were silent about it. And then when I went and saw it, like the Friday it opened and the weeks it opened, I was plagued by like. Not everyone was digging it, and it's not a movie you cheer. We don't blow up the Death Star, or we don't do any of these. We don't do any of these crazy climactic. Yes, Batman did it. Oh yes, it's three people arguing about them having an emotional argument. Yeah, the ending we want. So it was not a cheery movie, but like I said, it's taken 30 years to scare away the haters, and like that audience was great. Everybody got it. It's definitely a Land of Misfit Toys kind of version of Batman, and it was definitely a misfitty audience. I thought I think they wore their Batman Returns love with pride. Like they wouldn't come out for Christopher Nolan. These people, I think.
Right. I mean, today of this recording is literally the anniversary of The Dark Knight, and I'm not watching or rewatching that movie. I'm here talking to you about this because I care a lot more about this.
Because we all saw The Dark Knight 10 times when it came out. It doesn't need revisionist love.
So
I saw a screening of The Dark Knight Rises. It was at the Universal IMAX. It was a special pre-release screening with Christopher Nolan speaking. I'll never forget because
is that the one where he did the whole
yeah. You know all my stories, but yeah, it was still traumatizing. that he had to pick on Batman Returns, and the audience is nodding with him. Yes, fuck that movie, fuck that movie.
For those who don't know
God.
the story, what specifically was said?
Well, the moderator had the nerve to ask, well, what do you think of Tim Burton's movies, Batman movies? It's like, well, I found things to like about the first one, not the second one.
I didn't know this story, actually.
The first one had excellent production design, not the second one. I like
Sure,
what
said
they
exactly like that.
Yeah, well, the guy doesn't speak in contractions. Everything's full words. And
That's true. That's true.
He's just slowly strangled me, and I'm like, bead of sweat flowing down my, And I've also heard David Goyer punch me in public too. So, I did everything wrong. Tim and I did everything wrong. We didn't follow the ethos, but we were naive. It was before, like I think I said on that Saturday, it was before the internet. Like, we didn't know we had to go through before a tribunal of fans to make sure we answer all their questions before we come up with a conception of our take on it.
Yeah.
Like, we naively thought everyone gets a take. Everyone does a Batman movie, gets to put their own imprint on it. But
True. Though, I mean, to fit into the theme of resurgence, I don't know if you heard, Matt Reeves is a big fan of Batman.
Matt Reeves is my man.
He's our man.
I love Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson have been very, very good at kissing the ring.
Kissing the ring.
Those guys. I love, and I love the movie quite. I like Batman quite a bit too, and not just because I heard how much they like Batman Returns, but Matt Reeves gets it. Not every Batman movie has to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just, it's just like we don't, like, I always, in all my films, like, I like movies where a person can sit down and watch it and everyone in the audience can have a different experience with it. I think most Marvel movies, they're good, but we all have the same experience. We all have the same amount of joy and excitement. We all come out saying, yes, that was good. That was fun. Oh, when that happened, we enjoyed it. Even with my movie Heathers, with Batman Returns, with Demolition Man, it hits people different ways, and I like that. That not everyone's gonna like it. Not everyone's gonna like the same thing. People are gonna respond to different things because not everything is spelled out for you. Not everything is. You're not told how to feel. It's not like done by committee where every precise effect has been tested and calibrated. Like Batman Returns is just I'll admit it's a mess, but the plotting is not my favorite, and we ended up bringing Wesley Strick, which I'm sure you'll get to because you're going for the deep cuts. I do what I do. I'm an old shoe cobbler. I like to create wild characters.
And we love those characters. So I guess we can go and backtrack with sort of how this all started. So Andrew's got the first question on this.
Okay. So from our research, you got attached to Batman Returns from knowing producer Denise DeNovi. And after you previously met Tim Burton for a pitch on a Beetlejuice sequel, could you tell us how that first meeting went with Burton and what you remember from your pitch for Beetlejuice 2. Was this Beetlejuice in the White House, Beetlejuice in Hawaii?
Yes, this was Beetlejuice. I was the first person to come up with the great idea of Beetlejuice in the White House, and not much else.
Okay.
Like it was kind of a half. It was kind of a half-assed meeting. It was like I had this conception of Beetlejuice in the White House, but it was more a meeting for Denise wanted us to meet. Denise was the producer of Heathers. And she knew I was a fan of Tim's, and Tim was a fan of mine. So she just wanted to meet, and ostensibly, in the most vaguest of ways, it was about talking about Beetlejuice. But as I would find out about many things, Tim was not entirely into doing a film about Beetlejuice too. So I could feel the sogginess in the room from the minute I walked in. Like, sure, White House, okay, that sounds pretty good. But we ended up talking about other movies. He's definitely he's definitely a film scholar, and I go deep on movies, and we talk about Fellini and things like that, um, and other filmmakers, and so it ended up more being a general meeting. But I think we had the same sense of humor, and for kind of the withdrawn little troll man he puts himself out to be, he can be very funny and sharp, and he's got a great laugh. And I compare him to Bjork, where Bjork is like, when they talk about Bjork, when Bjork is like doing interviews, she's like, "Oh, I'm a crazy person. I like my things." But then when she gets in the studio, she's like, "I went 12 dBs down this way," and she knows her shit. Knows her shit.
Yeah, kind of have to be.
And Tim is also like knows his stuff, and he's more shrewd than he lets himself let it on to be.
You can't just be weird. You have to know your shit as well.
Yeah. There's a lot of Tim Burtons in basements around the country who are not going to be going on a set anytime soon.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Very true. Very true. So moving further into the development, we know that Warner Brothers mandates it's got to be Penguin, it's got to be Catwoman, because those are the villains that you know from Batman 66, and your main job is to sort of reimagine them in a way that Tim is actually interested in making and putting millions of dollars on the line to make. One question that I had, and I'm curious if you've seen these around the internet before, but even though you're very much on record saying you went more on your own vision than on the comics, there are a lot of connections to the comics. We got Jimmy the Hideous Penguin Boy up here, but that's not the comic I was pulling up. We've got Penguin using a giant gift before a crime as pointed out by our friends at Batman Online.
This is all going to be a shock to me. And I heard there's a Batman TV episode about him running for mayor, which I had no idea about. No idea.
Yeah, and then this other one I've got is Penguin using penguins with
what? This is a lie. You went back in time.
It took the DeLorean. And then we've also got Selena lying in an alley before becoming Catwoman a couple years before. Obviously, with very different context in the comic, but a similar image. I'm not sure if that was that was something that came out a little earlier before compared to the classic ones I just showed you. But I think your reaction tells me the answer to this in terms of was there influence from any of the other comics, or is this all just one weird coincidental thing where just following the spirit of the character you sort of found stuff that just
listen, the Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns was a very meaningful artifact to me. I think it's one of the great pop culture artifacts of our century, or of the last 100 years, and I worship that. I was disappointed when the first Batman wasn't anything like that, and so I did want that kind of scale and breadth, but I knew we weren't going to do an adaptation of that. But that's the feel I wanted, and it ended up being less that than going into Tim Burton world. But first of all, I was working on the great film Hudson Hawk in Rome. My career was just on top of the world. What could go wrong with this movie? The shooting went on forever. They didn't really need me, or they needed another writer that they never got. And we have Hudson Hawk lives in history today as one of the worst films ever made, although it has its following. Anyway, but I was called back to LA because Tim wanted to hear my take on Batman on doing a Batman sequel. So it's not like I had the job, but it's but I had to come in, and he didn't tell me anything.
Of course.
He just wanted to hear my thoughts. And I did have pretty much soup to nuts what Catwoman is today. That storyline was my storyline. That's what I pitched him in, in the homemade element of it, the homemade of her making her own costume and everything like that. And you can tell when Tim responds to something, he just okay, that's it. He's just almost shut up. Now it's not shut up. You got it. Now it's mine, and let me put my Burton magic on it. And he had this drawing of the penguin boy that you pointed out. He had a bunch of drawings like that,
Pull it up.
and it was kind of like, I think even more than him himself who did the drawings, I'm the one who said, well, why I pushed him that little inch and say, well, why don't we just make the penguin that? Like, make the penguin go full mutant, go full retard, go full mutant on the penguin, and like make it, not make, because we were confused by Burgess Meredith. We were confused by the penguin character. God forbid we opened up all the comic books and started reading to do our own research. God forbid. That would take too much work. We were two boys in a room. We were just playing Barbies basically, and yeah. So it's like it got his blood pumping, his brain pumping, and I had the job pretty much immediately, which was just crazy what you have to do to get jobs in the comic book world today. Like how much you have to prostrate yourself before the Politburo, but it was just two guys in a room, and we just went to work pretty quickly.
Nice.
But again, our lack of research into the comic book lore is like everything David Goyer and Christopher Nolan feared, and what Batman fans fear.
Yeah, but then they also thought that Penguin wouldn't really fit their realistic take. Where I'm just like, well, clearly the Batman's version shows you can do Penguin in a very realistic way. So I've always thought that was a weird opinion of theirs on the character.
Oh, and there was already, and as you all obviously already know, there was already an existing draft of Sam Hamm's script,
right?
And which was a base hit up the middle. It was very, very straightforward, very like mystery. It was like an old Hardy Boys adventure. Like it was, and you could it was just, you read it and like, yep, there's no way Tim Burton's gonna make this.
Right. It's because it's very plot heavy, and I noticed at the end reading, I'm just like, well, it's cool they had this mystery, but I have no investment in Penguin and Catwoman whatsoever.
Yeah, it's like the CBS version of Batman between CSI in New Orleans and the FBI. Like it's like, okay, a Quinn Martin production.
I think though that it's funny because you've brought up like it's just the two of you in this room developing it, but like as I said earlier, even before Batman Returns, Penguin has a history of being an outcast due to his physical appearance, which is why he's got the whole Penguin nickname. Catwoman has a history of being a woman who has gone through some form of abuse and can't take it anymore, and that's a theme in your entire take on Catwoman, not just Batman Returns, but the Catwoman script you wrote. So like,
it's almost like we didn't have to orally talk about it. It's like it's built into the system. It is like it's something that when you say it out loud to me, of course we knew this, but it was not even a conscious thing. It was like that's where we began with those elements of Penguin is an outcast, Catwoman is like she's not, she's got a history too, like Catwoman. Like I love when the true Batman fans try to lecture me on like how I changed cat. Like, and I'm like, it's like, you understand? She's an art thief and she's a cat burglar and she does this and and I'm like, just like, come on, isn't mine better? Don't you? Why won't you admit it?
For the sake of this, though, I will admit, because I've brought up before on the show how I'm just like, well. I'm like, the one drawback, I think this is back 2019, just the one drawback is she's a thief. She doesn't steal anything in Batman Returns. But after thinking about it, I think I say this too in that episode. I'm like, that's like one small thing, and I wouldn't trade Michelle Pfeiffer's performance or characterization for the world just for one heist scene.
I'm sure in some drafts she actually stole something, like, but it was I did probably have her steal something in early drafts, but it was not, it took on, the character takes on a life of its own, and it just became that was not it. I never, like, I'm a pervert of long standing, but I've never had a thing for Batman, the TV series. Like Julie Newmar always reminded me of my mother's bridge partner. She was a little too obvious for me. and didn't have that childhood connection with her.
Gotcha. I do feel like this does set the stage for what Chris Nolan and Heath Ledger do with Joker in sort of reimagining a darker version of the character that fits the specific world, but doesn't initially have what you would expect from it or the traditional comic book take. And I think that, a lot of people give praise to that, but they kind of forget this sort of sets the stage for that, in my opinion, for that type of reimagining.
Yeah, I mean, Christopher Nolan, Heath Ledger, they established a perfect specific tone that takes a little bit of the comics, but creates their own new thing. But it still felt real. I mean, we're not in a real city. We're in Tim Burton's Gotham City, so it's like to have real people. It's almost like the production, the characterization has to match the production design in some ways. Right. Everybody's got to be I mean, you could say Heath Ledger's larger than life, but you could still believe him as a psycho. I mean, it's like if Heath Ledger's character took over the news tomorrow, I'd believe it.
Yeah, very true. All right. So I think Andrew has a question about Batman 66 because you brought that up before.
You kind of answered this already, but both your Penguin and Batman Returns and the Penguin from the two-parter where he runs for mayor in Batman 66, they both have some sort of political satire.
God! I should watch this episode. This sounds.
You've still never gone back to see it.
Good. Like, I mean, I know it's criminal that I even go back. Well, now I don't. I've heard about it, so now I don't want to go back to see it and find out that I stole all this stuff verbatim. Like, wait a minute.
There's nothing verbatim other than Penguin just running for mayor, but it is. It's a political satire in the sense that like Penguin does all the dirty cheap tricks and stuff, and Adam West Batman just wants to stay true to the law, and he's competing up against him. It's a different type. It's a very 1966 satire version of it, as opposed to a 90s update of that where things are darker. So like I wouldn't worry about any accidental plagiarism.
Yeah, I mean definitely one of the element of like that with. Obviously, you've heard me talk about the character Max Shreck. That Max Shreck is not from the comics. He's not Harvey Dent. As we said in the opening, never Harvey Dent. But I wanted Christopher Walken was number one on my casting list, but I wanted a different Christopher Walken. I wanted a Christopher Walken that plays it completely straight, and Christopher Walken takes it to Walken land. I mean, you get on a Tim Burton set, you're going to take it to another level. But the way the character was written, it was almost like evil Mitt Romney. It was like the bland, boring guy who is actually the real villain, and that he kind of just uses Penguin and uses Catwoman for his own designs, the way it would be in real life. Like if these strange characters came, like Trump, the people who use Trump as a battering ram, like. Those are the true villains, but we don't hear about those guys, and that's what I wanted Max Shreck to be. But Mac, obviously it turned out the way it turned out. It was fine. It was great, and I love that people pointed out though that the scene where Batman plays Penguin's voice saying all the terrible things about Gotham City, that if Trump did that, nobody would care. Like they would. I played the most America,
unrealistic thing about this movie.
I played America like a heart from hell. Like Trump, you lovable son of a bitch.
That's true.
They would buy it.
Did you? I'm going to go off script a little bit here, Ben. Did you expect Michelle Pfeiffer to give that kind of performance?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it was
incredible, right?
Well, I was written. I mean, I don't want to brag. It's a good role. It's a good role, and I know every actress coming into it would think, "Oh, great! I'm playing Catwoman. I'll get to wear a funny costume, and it'll be like a Marvel movie where I get to I'll have some great lines, and I'll do some great banter." But Annette Bening, who was originally set to do the movie, I mean, if you track down this Premiere Magazine, where she was on the cover for Regarding Henry, she says all these great things about me, and I can't find the magazine. But I mean, both her and Michelle Pfeiffer were shocked that there's an actual role there that she has her own arc that has nothing to do with Batman. So like, and I find there's so many great actors out there, and that they just don't get the roles where they get to take it to the next level. And that the role had so much, and I knew Michelle Pfeiffer would be. And even hear her talk, like she thought she was getting the Catwoman role, like Valley Perrine and Superman, like it was going to be it was going to be just casual comic books. She had no idea what she was getting. So, and you could, and like and it was like with a lot of actresses I work with, Winona Ryder and Heathers, and even Sandra Bullock, which I thought she gave an amazing comic performance in Demolition Man. That some actresses don't get they get the girl part. So when they see a role that's not the girl part, they give it everything and they make the role better than it was ever even written. They put so much into it.
That's awesome.
So yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer, she's a great actress. It's a great role. The script's got a lot of problems, but not Catwoman. And so I knew she would be fantastic.
I know we talked about the mixed reviews in the beginning of this episode and when we're talking to you, but, and you had like that experience when it came out, but when I talk to women about this movie, almost all of them say this is their favorite Batman movie. And it's more than likely it's because of Catwoman. I would wager.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like the response is really good from women fans.
Definitely. It's not just one of their favorite Batman movies; it's one of their favorite films, and which is great. Well, I just find that not a lot of people, men or women, write female roles to begin with, or female roles that have that kind of complexity. Like I always make fun of the Captain Marvel, the strong female role, where it's just like. She's perfect. She does everything well. She does everything with strength and wisdom and excellence. And okay, that's kind of a strong female role, but a woman who's fucked up and is actually funny and's got a sense of humor and overcomes things, that's even more interesting. And that's maybe not as quote unquote strong, but that's more interesting. Like, you look at the great male roles like Jack Nicholson and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and Five Easy Pieces. Like, these are not strong men. These are messed up men. Like, I think the more messed up you can make it is best. So I think it's just like, I think when you make a complex female role, it's just something, it hits the audience a little different. It goes back to my original philosophy of finding ways to fuck up the audience. And like, even with Heathers, like the high school movie was done usually from the dude's point of view, or if it was like the John Hughes, Molly Ringwald point of view, which was nice, but real life, if you contrast it with real life, it's a little more fucked up. And so let's embrace the fucked up of it all. Like they're willing to do that. They're willing to do that with male characters, but they sometimes are scared to embrace the fucked up when it comes to female characters.
Definitely. This definitely embraces that to the max.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
All right, back to our script here. So what aspects from your original drafts do you wish made it into the film?
Oh, Jesus. I just thought of one thing. One little thing. This is not that answer your question the way you want it, but
that's okay.
Because I did make it a little. The political satire was a little more real. Everything was a little more grounded in my script. But I do miss the element when she kisses Christopher Walken at the end. The lights, the Christmas lights of Gotham City, the entire city are supposed to blink on and off. Blink on and off. It was a great thing. Tim, why didn't you do it, buddy? He said it. He said he didn't believe a little power station at the bottom of the zoo would affect the city of Gotham. Like, oh, now you're pulling out the reality white glove. Now you're telling me it's not realistic. Yeah, it's not exactly realism.
Real quick. Do you have the comic book adaptation of the movie?
Oh, I did have that at one time. I don't know if I still have it now.
It has that. It's in there. I don't know if I can pull.
Oh my God, you're kidding! I did not know that.
It's in there. Yeah.
Oh, I gotta re-get it. I gotta dig it up out of my crypt.
I immediately was like, hold on a second. Let me see if I can. I have another section. I didn't put that part in, but I have another section of showing you some stuff that I know was in the original draft that didn't make it into the film.
Oh my God, you probably can answer these questions better than I can. But also, Wesley Strick did do a polish on the script, pre-production polish and production polish on the script, and he added like references to Earth reality, like the Love Connection and Norman Bates and Ted Bundy and Muhammad Shreck. What the fuck, Muhammad Shreck? and like. I didn't want this to take place in anything real. Like, so I didn't have any of that shit. I went through a fine-tooth comb, and let me tell you, I'll throw down a Gilligan's. I'm the kind of guy who throw down a Gilligan's Island reference if I have to. But I held myself in check. I kept all that stuff out of the script, and then it gets put in, and I feel terrible.
Who wrote Unlimited Poontang?
Oh, God damn, there's love for Unlimited Poontang. And we haven't. In fact, I was talking, it was bantering on Facebook of saying, because I had traumatized hatred for Wesley Strick when the movie was being made and when it first came out. And now I have nothing but respect, and I think he did a great job. And I'm always willing to tell you, but I'm like, who knew Unlimited Poontang had such a cult following? Because that's always like, dude, up high, Unlimited Poontang. Like, it was Wesley Strick, all right? It was Strick.
McDonald's execs are just in the back like, I don't know about this. Unlimited Poontang in this Batman movie.
Yeah, Mickey D's. It wasn't me.
Notice in the beginning when I said
wasn't me.
When I said great dialogue, I did not say Unlimited Poontang in the beginning because I'm just like, I know which ones were his lines and which ones weren't, and that was the
yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I like to be asked about it. Like, but it's always funny. Like, it's funny. Unlimited Poontang's one of those ones that dude. Unlimited Poontang. Like, what the fuck? There's some great stuff I wrote that you can bring up, but you're bringing up Unlimited Poontang.
I'm sorry.
What is this? Caddyshack, the superhero movie?
Yeah. Right. Oh man.
I try to keep references in Poontang on my first draft.
There's certain rules you live by.
Yeah.
All right. Let's dive into those original drafts. I think a lot of people want some of the juice on some of these things, some of the characters who didn't make it in. So it's been well reported how Marlon Wayans is originally Robin, was written into your original draft as the garage mechanic. He's got the R on his uniform after he wipes off.
Yeah, very. As you know, it was not a big thing. It was a very just little piece of paprika in our stew. The
internet makes it feel like Marlon Wayans was like all set up and there was like a third movie planned with Wayans as Robin. I'm just like, based off of what I heard from you, that does not sound like that.
Not at all. Like it was always felt very afterthoughty. So when it cut, it just came out like butter.
Got it. And I feel
it was one. It was. I think it was one. Literally pulls in a garage mechanic to get his car fixed during the chase, and the guy helps him out.
Yeah,
and he's got an R on his coat.
Yeah,
literally that's it. Billy D. Williams had a bigger part.
Okay, we'll get into that in a bit.
No, Billy D. Williams had a bigger part in the first Batman than Marlon.
Oh,
Wayans
I see what you mean. Okay, never mind. Yeah. That was a pretty small part then in '89.
Sure. I'm sure you've heard my Robert Wolf story though.
Oh yeah. We'll reference that in a bit.
Okay, Mr. Orchestrator, you got a plan. All right,
I got a plan. We'll stick with Robin right now because I do want to ask you about something that I'm hoping you do remember. This is
oh my God, this is where I find out everything I said syllable by syllable is a verbatim. I'm the Manchurian Candidate.
Fantasy magazine. You had mentioned to them back in '92 that originally at one point, Robin, we started off with him as a full-fledged character who worked as a street kid for the Penguin. Do you remember this?
What?
Was this an idea?
Wow, what the who is this Waters guy? Oh my god.
Do you remember this at all? I'm guessing you don't, based off your response.
I think I was just talking shit to Fanazone.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah, I like Fanazone, you crazy kids. I love grape flavor, but let's see. No. I mean, never was that in a script, but it's certainly something that we could have. I can envision banding about with Tim, but then Tim, he's not exactly like Carl Reiner and Neil Simon in the writer's room where got a rolled up sleeves by the typewriter. He always used to just silently raise his finger and just it was pointless to argue at that point. Once the finger goes up, it was dead.
It was the end of Robin.
I'm sure that was hey, he's a street kid who works at the Penguin.
Got it. Okay. All right.
What else does Fanazone get out of me?
It's 2022 Waters versus 1992 Waters.
They got me. They got me high first. Fanazone there.
All right, Andrew has the next one.
Okay. You're on record bringing up that the real villain of this movie is Max Shreck, as he represents the real life businessmen who fuck people over. Was Max Shreck based off of any specific person in real life, perhaps?
Oh, I love coming across reviews that compare him to Trump. Okay, that I'm not gonna say. I mean, it would make me look so good if I could say he was Trump, baby. He was Trump, baby. I got,
He's got his name all over the city. He's got ridiculous hair.
I mean, I'm sure it was there in my brain. I don't remember consciously saying Max Shreck is Donald Trump, but if anything, now that I've done reading retroactively, he's Fred Trump, Donald's father, and Biff is or Chip. Sorry.
Oh right.
Chip is Donald Trump, which makes even more sense because Trump's father was an evil racist pig, and Trump is a chump, and he was trying to be evil like his father, and only half-assed evil. But I mean, he was just I'm sure he was amalgam of a lot of guys, just the guys. I mean, there's a joke about my friends who have to read my scripts. Like, I always have an all-powerful character who connects all the other characters, who looks out over the city at the start of the movie. It's a terrible trope of mine. Like, I just love those characters that connect everything up. And but I can't give myself full credit. I mean, I predicted a lot of things. I predicted a lot of things in Demolition Man. I predicted a lot of things, but I can't give myself full credit for predicting Donald Trump.
And the name of Max Shreck, in terms of it, obviously common trivia, that is the name of the German actor who was in Nosferatu. Was that mainly because of appealing to Tim on the German expressionism?
It's so funny. It's such a microcosm of pleasing your director. Like, if it was William Friedkin directed the movie, I'd call him Turd Ferguson or something. I'd give him a tough name. But just like, depending who you, but it's so funny because Scott Alexander, who's the co-writer of Ed Wood and one of my best friends with Larry Karaszewski, he did an interview with me at a Writers Guild screening of Batman Returns, anniversary Batman Returns screening, and just like, he's saying, did Tim tell you to do Max Shreck? And I'm like, no. Well, was he happy you did Max Shreck? And like, we never even talked about it, but it's just like, I knew Tim would like it. I knew this is appeal to Tim. I knew naming it, and for me, and then Scott goes, did you tell him it was based on? If I would have told him, hey Tim, I'm naming him Max Shreck based on the actor who played Nosferatu, it would have killed our relationship. The fact that it didn't mention it was one of many secret handshakes that says, "Tim, I got you. I'm
That's
your
beautiful.
man." Like,
Yeah.
because it's like who you're working for when you name the guy Max Shreck. Like, that's just it's like you just kick upstairs. This is Tim's gonna like it.
Yeah, because a lot of people bring up is like, oh, he's like a metaphorical vampire, and he wants a power plant to suck up the energy of the city. I'm just like, that wasn't in the original drafts, though.
Sure. Oh yeah, the fucking power plant. What the fuck is a power plant? Fucking power plant, like a power plant that sucks energy. What the fuck? I mean, metaphorically, it's fun, but
yeah.
And I love Wesley's line. If my life has a meaning, that's the meaning. You can't have enough power. I like that line, but that fucking power plant, give me God, I love this shit that moves the story along. I was doing a Robert Altman film, people. Characters interacting.
Right. So now that does bring us into debunking our favorite thing to debunk, and probably yours as well, which is Max Shreck was never
Harvey Dent. He was. I just I did think of having Harvey Dent as a supporting character in the movie. Billy D. Williams, who I like, having a supporting character, just like him being collateral damage, like Robin, just a small throwaway scene.
He's collateral damage to what's going on in the city.
He's collateral damage in one of the action scenes, and then he flips a coin at the end of the movie, and like he's injured that way at the end of the movie. He just flips a coin at the end of the movie, but it's nothing. Nothing's ever done with it. It's just like another subtle hint, like the Robin character.
Gotcha.
Which again is terrible for what I'm doing to our black characters. Like I had two black characters that I made small cameos, and I then cut out the cameos, and now all we have is a reporter saying, "Commissioner Gordon, is it true?"
That's true.
Terrible. We would have much more diverse today.
Well,
but
you weren't in charge of the casting, so that's not on you. But yeah, I was curious about Harvey Dent because I didn't know that the idea was him getting caught in the collateral damage of the Red Triangle Circus Gang. I was just wondering if you had like a courtroom scene or something, but that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, that was the old again, and that got the Tim Burton thumb. Like just anytime I really didn't like the first Batman. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people do, and I saw it at a cynical age. Like I didn't think it was funny, and and I love Prince, and the songs are awful, and Jack is just overdoing it. I like Michael Keaton, but come on. Anyway, and Robert Wool was giving these lines from hell, like not one of them lands. And so I know you want to do the Wool thing later, but I'm doing the Wool thing now.
Go ahead. Actually, that's perfect. Yeah.
Like that I was obsessed with having a scene with Robert Wool early on in the script where he gets crucified. I can't remember what character, like one of my Red Triangle gang were more performance artists that love to do crazy shit.
I see how this fits. Yeah. Okay.
And so they crucified him to the bat signal. And so his dead body flashed across Gotham City skies. And
I really hated him.
I didn't know how Robert would feel about shooting that scene, but Tim was not gonna. Tim was like, "Do we have to bring it up? Do we have to bring up the character? Let's just not." Like every time I try to bring up the first film, he's like, "Can we just pretend it didn't happen?"
Actually, that fits right into Andrew's next question.
Yeah, so we know about Harvey Dent and the death scene of Knox with his body on the bat signal. Were there any other references to Batman 89 that were cut?
Well, the Vicky Vale joke stayed, and that was the only time I mentioned Vicky Vale. Like Strick, damn you, Strick, Ultimate Poontang, Wesley, Ultimate Poontang, Strick. He brought up talking about Vicky Vale in that pre-Christmas lighting date scene.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't do that. I really did not. I do remember like Tim and I had no interest in following. Like, what would follow up the first one? Like Tom Wilkinson's character. Like, I mean, like his son's out to get revenge. Like, I mean, like we just like there was nothing. Oh, that's Wait, I'm getting Falcone mixed up from.
You mean Jack Palance's character?
The Dark Knight character. Jack Palance. Jesus. Yeah. I only saw it once. Can you believe it?
89.
Yeah. I mean, I watched it twice. I saw it again before. I saw it when it came out.
Actually,
I saw it when it came out, and then watched it before doing Batman Returns. But there was not a lot of. Like the Vicky Vale joke was the only thing that Tim didn't touch that, which didn't got a lot of response when the movie first came out, but now it doesn't play at all. But
I think it's one of those you should have been there type of jokes at this point. I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, one thing that I thought would be fun to bring up to you that you might not have known is that Alexander Knox, the Robert Wool character, was actually supposed to die in 89. They were supposed to kill him off. He was going to get shot by one of the Joker's goons during the parade because he was going to he's been somewhat inspired by the heroes of Batman to try to do something during the parade, and he creates the bat signal in the parade, but then ends up losing his life in the process. And I think because the producers liked him or something like that, they said, we
got to save him for a sequel.
We got to save him for the sequel. And Robert Wool's like, thank God they didn't kill me off so I can be in the next one. And then imagine if your scene came back in the next one.
Yeah. Welcome to Hostel. Like, yeah. We're going to put
you just get shot in that one.
Yeah.
you would have given him a much more gruesome death.
I feel bad. Don't tell Robert Wool. I hope Robert Wool doesn't watch this.
Doesn't come on the show. Okay.
We'll
hold on.
Was Burton like not 100% into 89 as well in your estimation? Is that why he felt like he had more control with Returns?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think my opening, Ben can attest. My opening line was at the screening was, Batman was a Batman movie that happened to be directed by Tim Burton, and Batman Returns is a Tim Burton movie that happens to have Batman in it. Like it was a complete sea change. It was complete. I think he doesn't dislike the film. I just don't think he thought it was his. And it was something he had no interest in making another one like that. Going through that whole process.
Okay.
From beginning to end, like create, but so it was like you knew I know every decision I made as a writer when trying to create this first draft was what would Batman 89 do and not do that.
Wow. All right. Well, yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right.
And I'm glad to see his most recent. He's been doing some not as much horror as me, but he's been doing some couple 30th anniversary. not been doing some 30th anniversary interviews, and you can definitely see his affection for Batman Returns. And if anything, he's being a little more out of the closet about his not so much thrilled about Batman 89.
Gotcha. Yeah.
All right.
Actually, to lead into Andrew's next question, could you share with us, because you brought this up before about your traumatized hatred for Wesley Strick at that time.
At the time. Love you, Wesley. Boomtank forever.
Could you tell us about the facts and the fact
Oh my God! Have I talked about that with other people?
You brought that up, you brought that up, and I'm curious what you brought up. The whole 13 pages, only 13 pages went in, or something like that, but not all of them. So you had to redo it.
Wow!
But I was wondering what was in it.
Fanazone must have really just doctored me good. They got me so fucking high. Well, okay. The first draft of Wesley Strick is not the first draft of Wesley Strick. Which they shouldn't have given me. They should have waited until they did another draft because Wesley took some big swings.
Oh, okay.
And so he really changed a lot. And there was there was just a, oh lordy, there was a scene with Chip trying to seduce Selena in her apartment, and her knocking him into the Murphy bed that she has, and the bed flipping against the wall, trapping Chip. Like, just all these weird little fucking scenes. Like, give me a, and I remember I had this Paul. Did I talk about the Paul Abdul song?
No, I don't know about this one.
No.
There's a Paul Abdul song that I loved at the time called "Blowing Kisses in the Wind," and I made the mistake of reading this script while "Blowing the Kisses Wind" is playing over and over. And now, like, if you want to torture me, you can tie me a chair and play "Blowing Kisses in the Wind," because it just is like Vietnam flashbacks. I just turn and sweating because I just remember just lying down in my car and it's like, oh, I'm gonna die. Like, and yeah, there was there was a lot more dialogue changes, and trying to remember what else just really killed me, but I remember Chip having a bigger role that for no reason.
That's a character everybody wanted more from, clearly.
Yeah, well,
Right.
Chip is the actor who played Chip is great, Dunstan Hawk, but not as much in Batman Returns. But anyway, Andrew Bernarski, love you. Unlimited Food Bank. So, but anyway, like I've probably like suppressed more. I'm sorry, I can't give you more actual strict things that bother me. But
it was more about what was in your facts about
but
that.
I did have a 13-page facts of things that I thought was wrong with the script and this is the early days of fax machines, or not the early days of fax machines. It was the days of fax machines, which were never good. And I fed 13 pages to Tim's office of Warner Brothers, and only 12 came out. I only got an okay for 12, which means I had to send I didn't know which page didn't go through, so I had to send the whole 13 pages again.
Jesus.
Which just made it just muddied the waters. Like when I was allowed to come on the set, basically I was rolled out there like Hannibal Lecter, or like like it was
Mask.
It was it was just it made Tim and I's relationship hostile for quite a bit. Like we didn't speak, and it was only when the movie started being the editing and the rough cut stages that I was brought back in to like take a look at it and have some thoughts, and like I felt like we mended some fences because a lot of things like, and there was a lot more of the killing of the firstborn children of it, like it was right now it's kind of plays as just like a something to pull you along throughout the movie. It never really factors in a major way. Like it was like an overarching plot in the first draft I read. It was like there was a lot more of it, and now it just plays as a taste. At least that's what I said in my WGA arbitration letter to get sole credit. But
okay.
But it was a lot more omnipresent in the draft I read that made me so angry that. But yeah, it was not a cool act. I think I should have waited for them to say things to Wesley Strick on their own and then come in and read the next draft, which was a little more calmer, and there was no Chip in a bed and all that craziness.
So just to clarify, this fact goes to Tim Burton. This goes to Wesley Strick. Who got the
yeah, I wish I communicated directly with Wesley Strick, like just like me Wesley in a bathtub, Clockwork Orange style, but but no, went to Tim's office and to Denise. Yeah,
got it.
Yeah, and I had. Were you going to bring up the element of Max Shreck and Oswald Cobblepot being brothers?
Yes, but I mean we can talk about that now on that, because so that's something that Wesley eliminates, or did you already eliminate that after?
I think Wesley it was on the chopping block. I'm surprised. Well, definitely with Wesley put it out of its misery. I don't think it was a great idea. Like Oswald Cobblepot ends up being like ended up being a name he just pulls out of his ass. And but there was a whole thing of like there's a blonde child looking at the mutant child at the start of the movie, and it turns out that blonde child is Max Shreck, and Max and Penguin are brothers. But it never made it deep into drafts. I'm not exactly proud of it. It was a little cheap, but I'm going to shame Rod Lurie. Rod Lurie, the director and screenwriter, he was a film critic for the Los Angeles Magazine, and he did this article that he had seen a pirate rough cut of Batman Returns, and he gave it a review, and he said, and then at the end, it turns out two of the characters are siblings, and I'm like, and Warner Brothers was like, "How did you see this movie? How did you see the movie?" And I go, motherfuckers, look at this paragraph. He obviously just read an early draft of the script and he's lying. So Rod Lurie, if you're on watching this podcast, I see you.
Oh man. Okay.
And your remake of Straw Dog sucks.
Woo. All right.
But yeah, again, I can't tell you how Wesley Strick did a good job. I mean, I'm sure you've heard this golden oldie from my previous interviews, but I always say the thing with me and Tim Burton is it was like Rain Man with 2 Dustin Hoffmans.
Right.
That were both kind of weird and you know, kind of odd, and we both have our own play by our own rules, and we don't believe in Save the Cat or Save the Catwoman.
Right.
But we both kind of needed Wesley Strick to be Tom Cruise and like give a little sanity to the proceedings. So
Gotcha.
Are there any things from Strick's revisions that you actually like?
I like I say, I like a lot of the dialogue. I like a lot of the clarifications. I don't like his plot stuff. I don't like that fucking power plant. I don't like the firstborn children of Gotham City. What the fuck? And you know, it's such a great sequence, and Vincent Schiavelli drives a truck with 8 kids in it, and like that's supposed to be the getting the first. Yeah, give me a break. But you know, I'll throw out a high window. That's Wesley's. Got to give it to him.
Yeah.
Good shit. Good shit.
Then in the she looked pretty scared to me.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too. Fuck Wesley, you did some good stuff. You shut up.
Bad, Daniel.
You shut up, Ben. Ben's got them all on his Rolodex, the speed dial. Like, yeah. It's like you stop now. I parcel them out a little bit at a time. Let's not roll them all out.
All right. We'll hold back on that, but I will be showing you some of the stuff that are like visual versions of some of the stuff in your scripts that you may or may not have seen beforehand. But we are going to do a quick break to those dick commercials you were commenting to us about right here.
Hello, my name's Jonathan Dunn, host of the O3C podcast. Every week I'm joined by my 2 best gaming buddies, Chris and Minty, and we talk about the games we're playing, the games we love, and how they rank alongside our sacrosanct top 100 favourite video games of all time lists. Deep dives into gaming mechanics, history and lore abound, all topped off with lashings of irreverent dry British wit, witterings and wisdom. For details on the show and more, head to o3c.games and tune in every Monday on the HyperX Podcast Network.
Do you love Japan and video games? Well, so do we! We're Kinsey and Mark from Kyoto Indie Devs Chuhai Labs. Join us twice monthly for games, silly Japan news, and all-around nonsense. We stink at making commercials.
We fucking got this one, bro.
Be sure to stop by the Chuhai Labs Discord to chat about our games or ask us questions.
Chuhai Labs and the Nasty Labs podcast. We're legally the best.
Fight inflation the old-fashioned way, by spending less money. Check out the HyperX store at Amazon.com to find great Prime Day deals on July 12th and 13th. Stock up on new gaming gear so you'll be equipped for the new launches and content drops. Mark your calendars and set your alarms. Deals like this won't stick around long.
It's officially summertime, and everybody talks about looking good for the warmer months, but few have the balls to do it.
Well, it's time to nut up or shut up and take the easiest step to looking sexy this summer by using Manscaped.
Manscaped's Ultra Smooth package makes sure you have the proper care for down there. And their Boxers 2.0 gives you the perfect stage to show off the new look.
These products make you look hot, but your cleanly shaved nethers will keep you cool. And the Boxers 2.0 patented jewel pouch, trademark, technology will keep your boys from turning any beach day into a swamp day.
Dive headfirst into summer by joining the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get 20% off plus free shipping by going to manscaped.com using the code Johnson's Ballsack.
Yes, manscaped.com/Johnson's Ballsack.
The Ultra Smooth package is specialized 3-step groin shaving kit to help you buff, protect, and smooth your most sensitive areas. I'm talking crop shaver razor, crop exfoliator, and crop gel. This kit is the perfect polish to make your family jewels shine.
Step 1. Crop exfoliator. Infused with ingredients that can soothe, clear, and keep the skin on and around your groin feeling refreshed. The crop exfoliator can help you reduce the risk of ingrown hairs in your delicate places.
Step 2. Crop gel. See where you're shaving with our unique clear shaving gel just for the groin. It's called your delicate area for a reason. This is one place you do not want to go in blind.
Step 3. It's time to shave. The crop shaver, trademark, was designed for shaving the groin area with confidence. This razor has 3 precision blades that include extra wide lubricating strips and a pivoting head for the ultimate groin grooming experience.
To top it off, all 3 of these vegan, cruelty-free, and sulfate-free products are included so you know your manhood is in good hands and without compromise.
Once you have your hog in prize-worthy condition, grab yourself a pair of the Manscaped Boxers 2.0. They are ultra-soft, moisture-wicking, cooling, anti-chafing, masterpieces fit for a king and made for your royal scepter.
I should know, I'm wearing them right now. So, get 20% off plus free shipping with the code Johnson's Ballsack at manscaped.com.
There are so few perfect summer days. Don't let hot, sweaty balls ruin them. Stay fresh, clean, and smelling good with Manscaped.
As a fan of podcasts, you've probably thought about starting one of your own.
Introducing the new HyperX DuoCast.
The DuoCast has all the essential features an aspiring podcaster would want, from a USB mic with HyperX favorites like a tap to mute and a vibrant mute indicator.
It's compact and elegantly styled, perfect for situations where you want a mic that looks great but isn't too extra.
Check out the new HyperX DuoCast, available at Target.com or shop direct at HyperX.com.
Woohoo!
And we're back, and here we're going to continue talking to Daniel Waters about his time on Batman Returns. But during the time that we do that, we are going to start showing some images. So a lot of this stuff are different photos or concept art or stuff from the comic book adaptation, even things that I know were in your drafts that didn't make it into the final film. This first one, I'm pretty sure you've probably seen, which is the Batman store. Right.
You're killing me, Ben. This is okay. Sorry, Andrew. This is what I should have answered with.
Okay.
Things I missed from my draft, because I do miss this. Oh, it was such a good opening. You know the opening, right? I'm sure you've heard it. I know you guys know, because you guys know more about me than I do. You know my report card from 4th grade. But I had the great opening scene. It opens with the Batman logo.
Mm-hmm.
And you pull out from the Batman logo and you realize it's a souvenir store. It's a Batman souvenir store on fire. And then it blows up. And it's so great. Come on, how great is that?
I don't remember that part, but yeah.
Well, that was one of the first drafts. That was a not Ben's eyes draft.
Right.
But I do remember I had a lot of like Michael Keaton gives a lot of fuck this city speeches. Like what the hell? Like I've been made a joke. I've been made it like something they can sell tourist shit to. Like, like I'm the Hollywood Boulevard of Gotham City, and that and I had a lot of these speeches, and I think as I've mentioned before, that Michael Keaton would love, and Michael Keaton was great to work with, so smart, so shrewd, and he would just go, "This is a great speech. You got to cut it." Like, "Oh, that's funny. That's a great line. Get rid of it." Like he had a very firm control of what Bruce Wayne and Batman should be, and he definitely, like, anytime you made too many speeches or too many quips when he's wearing the outfit, he would really put the kibosh on that. Like that when he puts on the outfit, he should be speaking in small sentences, get in and get out. Like, so I mean, in terms of screen time, everybody complains about Batman having little screen time, but I think his presence is there even when he's not there. Like, he's still very effective. I mean, I think that first shot of him alone in a dark study with the Batman signal, light comes on, that's the most powerful image Michael Keaton has ever done with Batman. I think it speaks multitudes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Definitely.
and then I've joked before, and I'm sure you guys have heard me joke that, like, Christopher No Contractions Nolan, Christopher Batman 89 all the way Nolan. He, like, when he had Christian Bale, giving these very long speeches where he's sipping Fiji bottles because his voice is getting hoarse, talking all about the soul of the city and shit, and and I'm like, it took me watching those movies to say, oh my God, Michael Keaton was right. When you're wearing the suit, shut up.
Yeah, I mean, I did want to cover that a little bit on how, like, the original script does give a lot more to Bruce, in the sense that, there's a lot more on his kind of holiday depression. Vicky's left him. He's bitter about Gotham turning him into lunchboxes, being so easily manipulated by Penguin. But then, like, as the threat grows, you have a part where he ends up telling Alfred, he says, and I'll read it from here, it's like, "I do care for the weak, pathetic, and gullible people of Gotham City because I'm one of them." And yet at the end, he's kind of resolved to balance.
Oh my God, I'm getting chills, Ben. This is
you wrote this.
You're restoring my faith in myself.
He's kind of resolved to balance out his bitterness of caring for the people and opening his heart out to
yes.
Selena. And he still.
Did somebody say an arc? Hey, Keaton. Thanks a lot, Michael.
You're going to retract everything you said about Keaton being right.
You threw out my Oscar for your notes on a note session.
It seems like he's resolved to be like, okay, I do resent the people of Gotham, but I also am there to protect them. That
was a pretty good line on one of them.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that. Yeah. Give myself a sip of water for that.
This is, I protect the people of Gotham City from themselves. That means I must be
loved shit
and despised. I must be the light
Strick.
And the dark. So I feel like, wait a minute, because
I do remember the light and the dark. That was definitely a old Waters chestnut.
Because I'm just like, wait a minute, this is actually what Bruce is going through in this movie, or supposed to go through in this movie. That's not.
Yeah, God forbid. Like, there's an internet meme going around where it says, "First lesson to writers: show, don't tell." And then they say, "Shakespeare, hi, I'm the villain, and here's why." Like that. Shakespeare always tells, and but he gets away with it. And Shakespeare and Waters, baby, come on.
So I'm just like, well, I mean, I see Keaton's point, but also I'm just like, I don't think this comes through in the final film in terms of what that's supposed to be, because there's no Batman store, there's no dialogue about him resenting Gotham,
There's no wrestling with that. Like, I mean, that's the thing. He's, well, thank you, Ben, that you've made up for your Wesley Strick montage.
So here's a little bit more of the. I don't know if you've seen the rest of these photos, but these are more photos of what's supposed to be the inside of the store, which I think is just random Batman merchandise that they just put in there to fill it up, because there's literally the arcade game for '89 in there with Vicky's picture and Bruce Wayne's
cool.
picture. So that's in there. There's also, we're gonna get to it in a second, the concept art for the Bat Sled, that I know you mentioned in your script that was made, that they put that in the
Cool.
window. So that's pretty cool. And then I also have concept art of the World's Fair style version of Penguin's Hideout that you had come up with. I don't know if you'd seen these before, but when I first saw these, I'm just like, that's from, because I remember that roller coaster sequence that was cut with Batman Penguin fighting on that. I'm just like, holy shit, they actually like, they considered this and drew it out and stuff. They showed this.
Oh, really? I didn't. Oh, well, yeah. I mean, it definitely works better as a shell of a dead World's Fair.
Like, yeah, that's kind of what they're showing here. I think.
More than active roller coasters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, the Catwoman script I did, which probably going to get me to talk about. There's a scene where she's tortured in a car wash. I remember.
I remember
fake
that,
car wash. Jesus Christ, I had suppressed that.
And then we have these are from the great Jose Luis Garcia Lopez of Batman versus the Bat Creeps, who are the Red Triangle Circus Gang, being Batman imposters wearing the bat suits before Nolan did it in The Dark Knight. So we have that, a couple of those here. And then I forgot about the city thing, but I do have from the comic adaptation, Penguin making the Batmobile spin around to sort of torture Batman a little more. That's in there. And then
I mean, we built the spinny thing. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, I could see that was meant to be the payoff for that we didn't really get. It just was kind of just there in the final film as the gag for the fire breather. This is rare. This is something our assistant came up with. He found this is storyboards apparently of Batman and Robin fighting not just the Red Triangle Circus Gang, which was in your script with when they're at the garage, but also Penguin's there, which was not what I remembered. So,
wow, I don't remember that.
Somebody did this, and then someone also did this concept of what looks like some sort of Batman ski vehicle. And the most interesting thing to me is that it says that Robin is supposed to be standing here in like the tower turret, that very phallic looking part in the front.
Holy shit. I didn't, this was done behind my back.
Yeah. I'm just like, I'm not sure if you know what that's about, because I don't remember that being in a draft that I read of Robin being a part of that. He was just kind of helping out with the finale with the penguins, but he wasn't literally inside of a view.
Wow. Yeah, no, that must, I think this guy works for Fantazone.
And then we have Penguin with a flamethrower, which is another thing that I remember from the draft. And then one other thing that I thought that I noticed when I was going through it is that you beat Matt Reeves to the punch in having Bruce Wayne wear sunglasses inside during the day because it's too fucking bright. It's noted in this part of the script. Bruce, who was standing with sunglasses on in the Wayne Manor study. So I thought that was cool as well. I don't know if you know that in the movie and stuff, but
Jeez, I'm so ahead of my time. I didn't even know. Restores my faith in inhumanity. That's such a line of mine. Oh my God! Just Michael Jordan, Steph Curry making them from everywhere around the court. I gotta dig up this thing and read it.
It's online. Yeah, it's online. I do. I will put this out there too, because some people have read our coverage or heard our coverage on that, and just like what you said about like you have different responses to this movie. People have different reactions to this. I've definitely had different reactions when going through this draft. I don't know how many times I've read this. The first time I read it, I was still studying screenwriting and stuff. I'm just like, oh, this is awesome. I get to read the Robin scenes. I get to read the Max Shreck stuff. And then later on, I think I was really thrown off by the social commentary that I just did not catch when I was a kid. And I'm just like, I was not kind to it at that time when we were recording. And I was just like, what is this? And then I read it again after that. And then I was just like, oh, that now I see what he's doing here. Now I see. Well,
your first instinct is probably a pure instinct that is the reason it was cut. Like, hey, we didn't come here for a lecture, Waters. Like we want to watch Batman. Like, you know.
Yeah.
I miss some of those lines, but I agree. Mm-hmm. Like the text should be subtext 9 times out of 10. So that it's best that, like, sometimes just for actors and the producers and the studio to get a vision of what I'm going for, it's good to, I always say, like, sometimes it's good to put in a bunch of speeches where you talk about the theme of the movie and then cut them out, like, that, so everybody knows it, but then when it comes time to actually show it, you shouldn't need them. The movie should bleed you should feel that by watching the movie and not having everything spelled out for you. So I forgive you, Ben.
Well, thank you. And I also, we've been on record here where just like, more than ever, I appreciate when there is a take on it. It's not just a literal translation where you're just like, I already know this, I've read a million comics on this type of stuff. Like when there's a take, and for a take to be kind of mixing that type of commentary and somewhat of a satire on the real world and on superheroes, not in 2022, but in 1991. That's what, you already said you were ahead of your time. You were ahead of your time in that instance.
I know, baby. What the hell? Where's the love? The love's coming in the love's coming in 2022.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yep, that's true. Andrew, I'll let you take this next question, since I know I've been mainly taking over a lot of this.
Oh, that's okay. Wait, getting yours or doing the one that's scheduled for me?
The Twitter one. I think this is the next
one. Oh,
right?
Hey, pretty good for my first tweet. 21,000.
Okay, so yeah, all right. You came onto the Twitter scene with this tweet. What was behind that? It felt like you were calling out Batman in the movie for not being a detective, but to be fair, your script did have Bruce figuring out Max Shreck was connected to the Penguin through following the circus payments from Max and bugging his office.
Come on, that was so lame, though. It was so not real detective work. I mean, like, that's just like baby detective work. Ooh. Circus performers. Hey, wasn't there a circus gang? Oh, I'm Sherlock Holmes. Like,
for those who aren't able to see the YouTube, the tweet was, I'll let you say the tweet, you wrote it.
As well, and this is in appreciation that the Batman, he does do a lot of detective work, I thought. Or
yes, he does.
He feels like a detective.
Right.
And as the writer Batman Returns, all I have to say is ... So wait, you're telling me he's a detective?
So this was your reaction and praise for Matt Reeves' Batman.
It was being self-deprecating. Then of course people pointed out, well, DC Comics stands for Detective Comics. I'm like, Lucille Ball. Sure, I did. I think.
Oh man! All right. Also, a previous tweet before you debuted on Twitter with this amazing first tweet. So this is from Walter Chow saying, on his birthday, here's the time.
Walter Chow, my man.
Daniel Waters told me last week that he wrote a Catwoman sequel to this, so now we're transitioning to this. It was a Western, and Margaret was in it, so just going to sit with that until I die. And I was
I've never seen this tweet.
I was like, wait, Anne Margaret was in it. I know that. Okay, so I know Anne Margaret was in it. Yeah.
That's funny. Anne Margaret, that's a good connection. That's a good way to talk about it, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm just like, wait, because I know that you've said that you've watched Cat People, you watched Kitten with a Whip starring Anne Margaret before that script, but I didn't know if this is just Walter being like, he heard Anne Margaret and thought she was in it, or if you actually thought of her for a role in the movie.
No, I've done a couple interviews with Walter, so I was telling him verbatim. No, well, I mean, Anne Margaret was probably the one thing that me and Tim's vision of a Catwoman movie had in common. And I mean, like, I only did one draft of Catwoman. If you thought like Batman Returns is a visionary mess, this is even more crazy. This is even more crazy town. It was the first. It is the first draft. I hate that it's on the internet. I wish I got a chance to do a second draft for the internet.
We're sorry for covering it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's got a lot of crazy, interesting stuff in it. I mean, but Tim, and his was crazy. His vision was different, crazy. And we had two different visions of the movie. And like this is after Batman Returns. This is the two of us again. And again, like, nobody wants him near another Batman movie. But everybody loves Catwoman. Everybody loves the Catwoman character. So the idea of a Catwoman film, Warner Brothers, who can be jerks in other regard, they were all for you and Crazy Dan, Tim, you and Crazy Dan Waters, you go off and do a Catwoman movie. You boys, you have fun. And Tim wanted to do like almost a straight up black and white, like $12 million budget of Selena Kyle going away to a small town, like going away back to her hometown, and it getting creepy and weird and things happening. And he wanted it to be like the movie Cat People, and he loved the energy of the movie Kid with a Whip. So I ended up like making Anne Margaret, modeling the character of Selena's mother after Anne Margaret, but I had a whole other vision. I wanted to make a Batman movie without the problem of Batman, like, without people criticizing me there's not enough Batman movies. So I did a big epic verse of her escaping her hometown, like in Arizona. I wanted the complete West Coast, sunny West Coast opposite of Gotham City. And the city's run by 3 dashing male superheroes, and Selena Kyle doesn't have anything to do with it. She's supposed to leave her little life working at a casino with her mom, and then shit gets crazy. These guys are fascists. The superheroes running the city as villains. That's me, baby. I was on the ground for that one. But and then it ends up like she inspires the entire city, the women of the entire city, Fellini City of Women style, to dress up like their own versions of Catwoman. And they kind of attack the city and defeat the superheroes, and it's all fun and games, and it's all a bunch of craziness. And there was some good lines, and I think I'm still waiting for my note session, because it was like Tim, I gave him an outline and spelled everything out, but and I was waiting for notes on the outline, and Tim never gave me notes on the outline. And then finally the producer said, just go and write it. So I just went and wrote it, and I still haven't really heard back. I just know that was not his vision. So I thought, like, at least we'd have a meeting to try and blend our visions together, but we never even had that meeting. I think he just was off, and he realized, even though he loved Batman Returns, that he didn't want to do another movie that big and crazy. And that even without Batman, it's still a Batman movie, and he wanted to move on. And like it's not like he went through, like, when it came time to arbitrate the Catwoman Halle Berry movie, I got a truck backing up in my house and dumping 80 scripts on my front door, and it had 36 names of writers. I was the first name. Jesus. And there was 36 writers later. There was, actually ended up being a friend of mine who got credit, John Bricato, and his writing partner Michael Ferris. And but it had nothing to do with my script, and they had nothing to do with Tim Burton. And Tim Burton, it's not like Tim Burton monitored the following drafts of Catwoman. I think he just wanted out at that point. So it was just kind of too crazy for the room. But I know I ran into Michelle Pfeiffer at a Hollywood function, and she just looked at me like she wanted to do tic-tac-toe on my face with her claws. She acted like I was Lee Harvey Oswald, responsible for everything. Like there was no third gunman on the grassy knoll. It was all me. That my outlandishness and taking too long to write the script is what killed the project. So she's like, how could you, Dan? So I had that bullet in my gut to live with.
Oh, man. Okay.
So thanks a lot, Ben. For bringing this one up.
Oh, man.
Unlimited poontang all over again.
Well, we're going to be continuing on this thread a little more. I'm sorry.
Salt in the wound. Is it me next?
Yeah.
Okay. Were there any other actors you had in mind for the characters in that script, like Captain God?
Oh my God! Wow, you're really shaming me with these names. I was going to change the names. I was going to change the fucking names.
They were just placeholders, huh? Okay.
Okay, all right.
God damn fucking internet. So we didn't have the internet the first time around.
Right.
All right.
I did think Alec Baldwin was going to play one of the. He was still young enough that he was going to play the head. He was going to play Captain God. I think,
God.
like one of the head superheroes. Yeah.
And it's got Michelle Yeoh's name for Spooky in the script as well, I think. At one point.
Do I actually say? Oh well, that's boy. You're saving me with my own brilliance, but
which would have been fantastic casting at that point. The two Michelles fighting each other would have been fantastic.
Oh God, I'm a genius. Why? I mean, God, it's too bad. I mean, I think we could have got the script somewhere. Like, I just think, it became I didn't get an F. I got an incomplete. Like,
Oh man. So, talking about your genius once again, in light of your portrayal of evil superheroes for the cult of good in your Catwoman script, have you had a chance to watch The Boys, and do you find them to be similar in theme at all?
The Boys is fantastic. I love The Boys. Yeah, I mean, I don't say, "Hey, they're ripping off my Catwoman script, everybody." Like, it's definitely they take it to a whole new level, and it's a whole. But I mean, that's what I was going for.
Okay, yeah.
God forbid, sometimes it's all about timing. Like nobody wants to. I always use the example of Judge Reinhold in Beverly Hills Cop. In the climax of the movie, he says, "Everyone put down their guns. You're under arrest." And then the entire castle starts shooting at him. and he runs and ducks for cover. And then later on, when Eddie Murphy's gone inside and starts shooting people, he does it again, and everybody gives down their weapons. It's all about timing. A strange cinematic metaphor. But yeah, like sometimes we obviously need another 20 years of superheroes to exist and infect our consciousness before a great satire could come. Like I was satirizing it before it even was, when it was still fresh. Like let American superheroes have their honeymoon period before Waters comes in and slaps two people around. Like, I mean, I let 50 years of high school movies happen before I came in with Heather. So it's like gotta learn.
It is cool though to read these in the context of the 2020s right now too, and to already be used to that, and to be like, oh, like I can see this working now, and also seeing how Warner Brothers and audiences were not prepared for that in the 90s at the same time, unfortunately.
Thank you.
So one thing that I wanted to ask you is I don't know if you heard about this, there's a Batman 89 comic series, and there are a few things in there that you might find familiar because a lot of it is based off of unmade things that did not get to be part of the movie. So one of those is we got Marlon Wayans as that mechanic Robin with the R on his suit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Those bastards.
Done by Joe Quinones over here. He does drive the Batmobile too, with Batman in the passenger seat, which is another thing that you had. And
I'll be damned.
we've also got Harvey Dent getting scarred and flipping a coin to decide whether or not to be part of the action, and then getting the scarred side up, though. Whereas I think you said in an interview or with us.
That's right. I forgot. He does flip the coin, and it's just the benign side.
And he decides not to.
Leading you to think that in the sequel he's going to get the other side.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, it has your Catwoman in that as well, with art all here by Joe Quinones. But I will say,
hey, Wesley, that neon wasn't yours. That was mine, baby. That wasn't Tim Burton. Hello there, hell here. That's all me, baby.
Yep. Very true. So, yeah, I mean, I wanted to sort of show these to you. These are actually.
So hell here's in a comic book.
It is on the cover of issue 5 on this one. Yeah. along with your Selena Kyle, Joe Quinones is a huge fan of the Burton movies. He's the artist on this, and he deliberately drew one tidbit that I'm going to say in a future, because I do video essays on this, but he deliberately has 8 stitches on her costume for the 8 lives that she got lost in Batman Returns. So that leaves her for the 9th. So that's a little Easter egg he put in.
Naughty boy.
Yeah. The writer is actually Sam Hamm on this one.
Sam.
Yeah.
Well, Sam's a true gentleman. Sam's never talked shit. I've talked shit about his script. Sam is such above me. He's such more of a gentleman, but yeah, I don't know what I think he looks at my draft of Batman Returns compared to his draft of Batman Returns is like, oh, so you went that way, okay? like I mean, I don't know I can't imagine his actual opinion is great, but he's very cool about it.
I think in reading this, it is Ham taking a crack at your version of Catwoman, and I do, I love Sam Hamm. We'll bring him on at some point. We have gone through his scripts as well, and I've gone through, of course, this comic series for the show. But in reading it, I will say there is really only one man who can write Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman, and that's you.
Oh shit, Ben, you bad boy! All right, thank you, Ben. You slap with one hand and you pat with the other. All right.
Oh man.
So I think Andrew, you wanted to do this section here.
Yeah, so we're actually, I think, leaving Batman and Catwoman talk, and now we're entering into our miscellaneous section, our final section.
Oh, a miscellaneous final section. I thought I was here all night.
We're almost done. So,
kidnap me like me kidnapping Robert Wolf.
Yeah, exactly. In an interview with Money Into Light, you mentioned that you had a meeting on Spider-Man. Did Burton ever try to recruit you for his Superman movie?
Oh no, the Superman movie I think that was after Batman Returns and Catwoman.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
I think so our lines of communication were not that brisk right then. I think and I think I might even mention that Superman bores the shit out of me. So I was, oh my God, I forgot the name of your podcast. I'm so sorry. I got some dissing superheroes.
Superhero stuff you should know.
No, it's like, hey, you guys don't like Superman, do you? Come on.
We have a whole series planned.
I mean,
Pluto.
I mean, is there anything worse than spinning that world around and making time come back? Come on, admit. Worst thing that's ever been in a movie. All right, anyway, but okay, but yeah, no, I was not asked to do Superman. I would love to do a straight up Fellini movie with Tim, like about his childhood. Like I think I could write a great one of those, like and really make an Armored for Tim that would bring us back together. But I don't think we'll be doing any superhero movies, either of us.
Like a biopic about Tim Burton himself.
Yes.
Okay.
But like with like an epic.
That's cool. Yeah, highly stylized kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although not that he hasn't dealt with his childhood before, but.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And can you tell us if you have any involvement or you've had any involvement with the current DCEU, the current DC movies or the Marvel movies at all?
I got a note saying I'm allowed to see them.
You're allowed to see them.
Yes, I'm allowed to pay to see them in the theater. That's as good as they'll get. I don't think they want me near the actual construction of them anymore.
McDonald's is not as big as it was in the 90s, I think, so you're good.
Yeah, and I helped Taco Bell with Demolition Man, but come on.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but no, there's definitely no communication from DC or Marvel. My phone may not be working. Let me check. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Yeah, no, that joke I've been doing forever of like that because people say when right after Batman Returns, are they going to let you do another Batman Returns movie? I go, they're not even going to let me see another Batman movie. Yeah.
God, the problem with that happened with McDonald's. Is that why you propped up Taco Bell so much in Demolition Man?
That's right. One by one, I'm gonna come back at you like Arby's the movie. Like,
yeah. Taco Bell is featured. It's the only restaurant that exists in the future, right?
Yeah, you motherfuckers gonna pay Mickey D.
Oh man, that's great. I never put that together, but that's amazing. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's still some of it makes me crack up like that. We're the dark one, like when now everyone knows what they're getting into. Like, no one says, "Ooh, the Batman was so much darker than I thought it was going to be." It's playing Nirvana in the trailer, guys.
Yeah.
Yet they still get mad at that fish and that nose bite.
Yeah, right. I can
that
imagine.
one's not yours either, right? Or is that Strick?
No, the nose bite and the fish is mine.
Oh,
okay. This is
could be worse.
Last question. We talked about Demolition Man a few times through this whole episode here, and I wanted to say, man, I saw this. I'm 38 now. I'm going to be 38 in a month. I saw this when I was a kid. Absolutely loved Demolition Man. Saw it several times. My brothers and I actually went through a cryogenic phase as kids where we saw that was our first time seeing, because we were young, it was our first time seeing cryogenically frozen anything in a movie.
Oh, wow.
And it captured our imagination. So we had this whole phase, this whole summer where we would freeze our action figures just to kind of see them frozen. Freezing Batman, freezing this.
That's
freezing...
touching.
Yeah, we loved it, man. And there's been rumors that there is a sequel. So are you at liberty to say anything about
I'm
this
at liberty to say that Warner Brothers won't call me. But
okay. Okay.
Yeah, no, but I had some sequel idea like I had if they watch this podcast, they did have some sequel thoughts. I heard they're doing something with like clones of 50 Wesley Snipes, but yeah, I because there was a whole thing of Stallone in that film looking for his lost daughter, who is supposedly, like, if you did the math, his daughter was older than he was now in cryogenics, but we ended up shooting a scene with his older actress where they touchingly meet, and it was great, but it slowed the movie down, so we cut it. So then at test screens, everyone thought Sandra Bullock was going to turn out to be his daughter. So during the love scenes, they would all go, oh, and then, so it was very funny. But then when Joel Silver said, for the sequel, we didn't do anything with the daughter. We ended up not doing anything with the daughter in the movie. For the sequel, we'll get Meryl Streep or Glenn Close.
Okay.
To play the daughter. And then she turns out she's the villain of the whole society. I'm like, sounds good. I just know I got the teaser. The teaser is Stallone walking into a toilet.
With the 3 seashells?
The 3 seashells. He just turns back to camera. Don't you want to know? Closes the door. And then Demolition Man, fall 2024, everywhere.
That was never how the 3 seashells work? That was never really figured out, right? It's just purposefully ambiguous?
Purposely ambiguous. Yeah, I had my friend Larry Kierzuski, the writer of it, another co-writer of Ed Wood that I brought up earlier, that I wrote most of Demolition Man in line for one of the last episodes of Johnny Carson. I had spent 20 hours in line, so I brought my index cards and did most of the writing. But I called him up from the line and it said, "I need some futuristic shit. like help me out with some future stuff. We're going to talk about." He's like, "Can I call you back? I'm taking a shit right now." And I go, "Oh, this is great. This is great. Well, give me some bathroom stuff. Let's come up with some bathroom stuff. Let's brainstorm." He's like, "Dude, I'm not going to talk about this. My wife keeps a bag of seashells next to my toilet, though." I go, "I'll work with that."
That's amazing.
But
wow.
But I've had people come up with me with their theories of how it works. Like I had to tell for jury duty, I had to say I was a screenwriter and give the judge my credits. And the female bailiff comes up to me afterwards and is like, "I think I know how the seashells work." And she's like, "One opens your butt and the other pulls out. You can pull out the excrement with the other one." I'm like, "Ladies, does this get me off the jury?"
Some of
Amazing.
Stallone's lines in that too, even as a kid, I would kind of felt like you could tell I don't know if you wrote him or not, but like you can tell there's a little bit Republican twinge to him.
I didn't know that that movie was going to end up being like the libertarian Bible. Like, I have there's a lot of YouTube videos where they talk about like that Demolition Man is the great anti-politically correct manifesto for the true. And I'm like, ugh,
Yeah.
ugh. Like there's a line in the movie, you can't take away people's rights to be assholes, which I thought was a great line. I like that line. But nowadays, I'm like, it'd be great if we had less assholes.
Right. Oh, man. It's been a pleasure. This has been a pleasure.
It is.
Right.
One last thing before we take off is I wanted to thank you for not just Batman Returns and coming on the show, but I wanted to share one thing before we let you go, which is that, I've considered Batman Returns to sort of be the, if Batman 89 was the film of my childhood, Batman Returns was kind of the film of my adolescence, of my teens, even though there was obviously a very short time in between. But I didn't really get it on VHS until I was in my teens. I rewatched it religiously, and I found that it was the only film I saw that portrayed the feeling of loneliness across its three leads, and specifically the ending. I grew up on Disney movies and James Bond and even the first Batman film. Usually hero gets the girl at the end, and Batman Returns showed something different. And the ending that you wrote where Bruce is alone, I felt as a teen, now there's a hero I can connect with. And that's kind of how a general,
cool.
I had a general fan love for Batman, and it kind of turned into a bigger emotional connection to the character. And what led to this podcast from that ending that you wrote. So,
oh my God. Did he say the same thing to Joel Schumacher when he was on?
Unfortunately, we couldn't get him on, but if we can dump into a Lazarus pit, I can tell him something else about that.
Thank you, Ben. That's great. Yeah, I mean, I get punished for don't pretend this isn't a happy ending. This is a happy ending from a lot of people, but I think it's like with most great love stories also they don't end up together a lot of them times, and like it's I think it's the resonance is the key. Like it isn't like I think all the Marvel climaxes are the same now, with people fighting a giant vortex, and like I think that keeping it intimate was an interesting way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for Batman Returns, and thank you for helping a lonely kid feel less alone years ago.
Oh geez, I do my best.
Thank you.
All right, buddy.
That is superhero stuff you should know. Big thanks to our research assistant, Dan, for bringing the visuals for the YouTube experience in this interview. And let's go on to the fan comments. So this first one is from Camden about the Batman 89 audiobook, saying Eddie the Mugger is actually wearing an I Love Gotham City shirt in the film, as is the Taurus son, Jimmy. Now, out of 30 plus years of watching this movie, I just never noticed that. Dan told me he had to like really pause at this point to get these screenshots for us. I'm just like, I've never seen this.
If you make shirts out there, I mean, people make like licensed shit all the time and sell it somehow on the internet. Like this is an idea, guys. This is amazing. I haven't seen this yet.
Yeah,
Warner Brothers. Somebody at Warner Brothers, look, just sell this shirt.
Just do this. Yeah. There's bound to be the original design somewhere out there. But this is awesome. Thank you, Camden, for that. Next comes from Zakynthos Diamandis.
Nice.
Sorry if I mispronounced that. But we talked about how in the novelization by Craig Shaw Gardner, there's like a lot of boom shakalaka in place of Prince. And so Zakynthos is saying it's from a 1988 song, Walk the Dinosaur, by Was Not Was, which coincidentally was featured in the 1989 movie The Dream Team, starring Michael Keaton. The movie was heavily inspired by One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, starring, of course, Jack Nicholson. And Coriolanus Quincy chimes in, it's originally from Sly and the Family Stones, I Want to Take You Higher. I always assumed Gardner threw that in because of people often note Sly's influence on Prince. Interesting tidbits from both of you. Thank you.
That's awesome.
And then last one comes from Coriolanus again, saying the back of the Toy Biz Figures package says Bob's real name is, wait for it, Robert Crazy Bob Capistrano. So that's interesting.
Crazy Bob.
in the script, in the novelization, it's just Bob Hawkins, but apparently they did not read the script when they did the Toy Biz, so they just came up with Capistrano as that.
Yeah.
So those are the fan comments for this
Wow.
week. Great stuff from our audience. We have some of the best fans, honestly, because a lot of you guys chime in with stuff that even we didn't know.
Especially you, Ben. Like, I'm just learning with the audience, like you are most of the time. I mean, like I'm learning from you, like the audience is more than likely. But the audience knows a shitload, man. It's crazy. It's great.
Yeah. It's great. Thank you guys. All right,
to
the shout outs.
All right. So we want to thank everybody that is part of our Patreon. Here up on the board here are people that have donated to the $1 tier or higher. And we want to thank some of our newcomers. Let's thank Josh M., Benjamin V., Chris F., Michael S., MetaGeek, Chuck, ATWT, Yuli, and Chris R. And we have other supporters as well up on the board, and they have helped us out in other ways as well. To get on the board, you need to get on the $1 tier at patreon.com/superherostuffpod. And or higher, and the higher ones would be the $5 tier, which gets you a whole other show. So this show that you're watching now is every Monday, and this is for free on YouTube. And then we have a whole other show, $5 a month, cancel anytime, up on the patreon.com/superherostuffpod, and you can binge the whole thing if you want. Doesn't matter to us. And then it gets you a shout out on the board as well. And then we have a $10 tier, which is the monthly meetup show, where we meet with listeners and fans, and it's kind of like a Zoom-like call with people, and we have a topic to discuss and things like that. So that's a $10 tier, and any above tier gets you all the benefits from the lower tier as well. So check that out. That's patreon.com/superherostuffpod. We have merch. superhousepod.redbubble.com and superherostuffpod.threadless.com. Ben Man, Zacula, Indeed Wizard, mugs, shirts, shower curtains, and all the rest. Artwork by Stefan Santa Cruz. Please send us some audio, and you can send that to superhousepodcast@gmail.com. I'm Thunderwolf Drew on Instagram and Twitter. Thunderwolf lives on YouTube when I'm not on this channel. And I'm thunderwolfdrew.com has my whole portfolio. I do behind-the-scenes photography and videography for Practical Effects Studio in Los Angeles, and you can see my photos there, and my some selects from my YouTube channel as well. Like pretty much like a curated collection of all the stuff I do is there at thunderwolfdrew.com. AmanoRecon.com, AMANORECON.com. This is an original idea that is heavily inspired by Power Rangers, X-Files, and Stranger Things. Mix those together, make it R-rated. You have this show. We're still working on it. We have a 17-second teaser at AmanoRecon.com. And we're going to be premiering a 4-minute campaign video that will be for Indiegogo, and that is to get funds to shoot something that will be 23 minutes. The pilot might get expensive because, guess what? There'll be martial arts in it, and so the stunts are not going to be cheap. So that's where I'm just going to tell you right now, that's going to be a big part of that budget. So I say this because people think that it's going to be a feature, and that would be sweet. But whatever money we get, we're going to have to put a lot of money, maybe that would be an indie feature, into being a 23-minute thing. Okay, so anyway, I'm on a Recon. This artwork is by Zach. That's it for me. Ben.
Shout out to Comic Capital on Instagram, as well as the Everything Entertainment Club on Clubhouse. You can follow us on social media. On Twitter, we're at SuperhousePod. Instagram, Superhero Stuff Pod. TikTok, Superhero Stuff Pod. Vero, Superhero Stuff Pod. My website is benwanwriter.com, where you can read my Gotham script, Gotham Vampire, where Bruce faces off against the Mad Monk, as well as my script Elementary, The Death of Sherlock Holmes, a modern update on the classic story, The Adventure of the Dying Detective, and Curb Your Enthusiasm, Disneyland, the Curb episode they could never make, where Larry David goes to Disneyland. My YouTube channel is in the description below, where you can also check out Doctor Who, The Ronin of Time, an audio drama I write, narrate, and edit, where the 8th Doctor meets Miyamoto Musashi in ancient Japan. My personal Instagram is Ben1Writer. My son's Instagram, Alfie, is at Alfie Pennyworth Cat. That is my cat, Alfie. And if you have a cat, an Alfie, a Peanut, any sort of cat, any sort of feline, you can also get the Whisker Box, the only cat box for the crazy cat lady and gent. And if you don't have a cat, but you have a dog instead, that's cool too. You can get the Bark Box, y'all. Give your dog exactly what they want with the Bark Box. You can get the promo link in our description, and you can use that to get the first month off free, valued at $35. You can also get that link over at superherostuffpod.com/shop. You can get all sorts of stuff. You can get a Keaton Funko. You can get the Batman giant history book from the 80th anniversary by Andrew Farago and Gina McIntyre that has some of the concept art that we showed you in this episode, including the Robin on the ski boat type of thing that shocked even Daniel Waters that it existed. So that's in there. And last but not least, Manscaped. Guys, get 20% off plus free shipping by using the promo code Johnson's Ballsack at manscaped.com to make your dick
gets me every time. Gets me every time.
So even Daniel Waters knows that we sells this. So
yeah. Oh man,
amazing. Yeah. So yes, please Johnson's Ballsack at manscaped.com. It does not have to be the platinum package, by the way. It can be any product.
Not at all.
Yeah, it could be any product, because I've been asked about this too. It could be any product on manscaped.com using this promo code. No matter what you order, 20% off plus free shipping.
Indeed. You just can't have your burly bush outside of your underoos. You got to keep that shit in check. Mm-hmm. So keep it in check with the platinum package or whatever else you want to get from Manscaped.
Yes.
So, yeah. And it's a little strange to do the Batman 89 quote on this one. So, I just got to give it up again. Unlimited poontang, everybody.
We'll play the Stinking City like a harp from hell.